Welcome into Trust the Process Live. We are here on a Tuesday because we thought we would be talking about a sweep, but it turns out we're not. We're here to give you a little preface to Game 5 as our Philadelphia 76ers and the Washington Wizards travel back up 95 to the friendly or unfriendly confines because, as we all know, I almost said Wachovia Center.
Don't date yourself now. Don't date yourself now.
Goodness, the Wells Fargo Center will be back to, are we looking at full capacity?
I think we're looking at full.
Yes, sir.
Full capacity. First game in over 14 months.
14 months of full capacity, and that's where the unfriendly confines come in. It's going to be a good one. We will get into Game 5 in a little bit, but I am back as your host, James Hyden, here with my guys, Doc Locke, Josh Safran. How are you, friend?
Hey, I'm doing good. You know, we got the laptop back in the saddle once and for all.
Let's go.
Pretty low-key Memorial Day weekend. Did a little door dashing, made a few easy bucks, and I was hoping we'd cap it off with a beautiful sweep. Was not the case, but you know what? We're here. We got full capacity tomorrow, so let's celebrate those small victories, and we'll get into utter panic in a few moments.
All right. My man, YG Young Gentleman, that's what they call him. We call him it too, just because that's how he lives. James Jackson, how are you, friend?
I'm good. And I really appreciate the Sixers getting on the gentleman wave, pulling out maybe the gentleman sweep in 5. I see you guys following the young gentleman mindset, the gent way. Appreciate y'all, man. That's for the brand right there. I like it.
Wow. Okay. That's how we're starting today. Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right. The man of digits, hopefully 5, and that's how many games it'll take the Sixers to win this first round series. Maximilian Coolish, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm chilling. I actually feel like I'm going to be the most sane one tonight, but I guess we're going to find out soon.
You seem eerily calm.
That's what I'm saying. I'm feeling eerily calm.
You feel like we're about to find out. You know something we don't. That's what it feels like right now.
Yeah, Tuesdays are my crazy days. And if you want to hear us go crazy on Tuesday this week instead of Monday, you can find us wherever you find your podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're there. Search Trust the Process Live or TTPL Philly, wherever you get your podcasts. That's our plug for the first half. I'll sneak one in there later.
That was beautiful. I
like to mix it up. I'll sneak another one up. You're not going to see it coming. You're not going to hear it coming, but you're going to get a second one later on in the show. Boys, we're going to jump right into our main event right now. Boys, I'm rusty. Oof. And I'm going to ask the first question, and I'm going to start it off with Max because I'm here. I need to be here. Okay? I'm here. I need to be here. I need you to level me out.
Bring them down.
Do you feel any differently about the Sixers and their title aspirations after seeing them play without Joel Embiid last night, as he only played 11 minutes in the game, obviously went down with what we thought at the time was a back injury, the way he got up and reacted, but it turns out it is a knee injury. We're not sure the full extent of that, but Max, after seeing him go out and seeing the way the Sixers played, do you feel any differently about the Sixers and their title aspirations?
I mean, I think we can all just, we can be honest with ourselves and saying, everybody kind of had that heart drop, just moment of dead silence. If you were alone, if you were with a group of people, I'm sure they all did the same exact thing where everyone just went, oh, no. But they did that inside their head because nobody could actually formulate words. So I'll say this: title aspirations are obviously they're shot without Joel Embiid. I feel like you're making me walk into the lines then here with that one, quite honestly. But I think we all agree they're not the best team in the league without him. They're just not. He does so much for them offensively and defensively. We've talked about it time and time again, but playoffs come down to matchups. You see it in every sport. It's all about matchups. In the Eastern Conference specifically, there is not a body on a single roster in the playoffs that is a good matchup for Joel Embiid. Right? Without that all changes. We're already starting to see some of the struggles that other players are having. I don't want to point the finger at Ben Simmons. He obviously has been under a lot of fire under the last week or so, right? But just not having a guy who commands a double team, a guy who scores 30 plus a game, a guy who is a threat to score from any distance within 25 feet. That opens up and changes a lot of things when that's not available for you on the floor. So I think we can all agree that title aspirations are, they're reduced to very significant margins without Joel Embiid, right? With that being said, I am absolutely going to take the positives out of this game. And we talked about this yesterday over text. The Sixers might be the only team in the playoffs that can get away with playing 10 men in a given series and it not be in total garbage time. I think that is extremely invaluable, especially for a team that that likes to tinker. And then this isn't even a Doc Rivers thing. It seems to just kind of be the identity of the Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons Sixers. It feels like tinkering has been going on for the last 4 years around these guys, and just trying to figure out what lineups work with what and who plays with who and how to match up.
And you think now that's a good thing? And you think now that's a good thing?
I
think that if it's going to happen, I at least would like to have the pieces that are competent enough to go out on the floor and not just be minus 10 in 2.5 minutes, right?
Well, but
I'm not saying that we should be relying on the bench. I'm not saying that this is a good thing. All I'm saying is that I've seen guys who I expected to have zero impact in the playoffs at least do something, and if for whatever reason if the bad luck continues, then I know that they can at least have a moment. They're not going to do enough to win series or maybe whole games, but all you can ask for, sometimes a guy going 1 for 2 with 3 points, that can be the biggest 3 points in the game. That can be a 3 that leads to a steal on a bucket, and then it's a quick 5 points.
No, you're right. The moment is a good point.
In the playoffs.
I don't know if I agree. I think I like the question, JJ, but I think the question has to be I don't think it's good or bad. Can they really play 10 men? Because the only time they've had to play 10 men, they just lost and didn't complete the sweep to a 10 seed.
I mean, they were playing without their best player for 3/4 of the game. They were down 12 in the fourth quarter and brought it back.
But that's why you have to play 10
men. I think that's why you can take a positive out of this.
I don't know if that's a positive. It didn't work out well.
I mean, like I said, we're not counting on the bench to win us the title. That's not going to happen. All I'm saying is that if Doc Rivers feels like for whatever reason that Tyrese Maxey is the guy to put in, and maybe he's going to jump up in the rotation, I'm not going to question that because I've already seen Tyrese Maxey come in and play important fourth quarter minutes and make a positive impact on the floor on both sides of the ball. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Right. Is that should Doc Rivers see fit to throw one of those 10 guys, or maybe one of those guys that we don't think should be playing, I have the confidence now to trust in that coaching staff. Whereas before, it's a total, it feels like a total Hail Mary move.
But you do it. But you
previous,
do agree.
Experiences.
But you do agree, Digits, that going forward in the playoffs, you don't want to continue to see 10 men off the bench. At some point,
No. I think that you don't want to be like Budenholzer, but I'm saying that, if your 10th guy becomes your 7th guy for some reason, I'm not scratching my head at that.
I've already seen it. I hear you.
All right.
I hear you.
All right. JJ, how are you feeling about these Sixers and their aspirations?
What's that first word, y'all? What's that first word in the graphic? Shaky baby. So it's Max, you pretty much hit every single point. There's no way you're living under ignorant bliss if you really think that without Joel Embiid, the Sixers still have a shot at winning the title, or even coming out of the Eastern Conference, because Joel Embiid is the only person on the Sixers from the offensive standpoint that can beat his matchup on the other side of the ball, pretty much whoever it is. We've seen Joel Embiid dominate the best of the best centers, and I'm not sure if anybody else on the Sixers in a one-on-one matchup can beat that other person on the other side of the ball consistently every single time down the floor. Every single time down the floor without Joel Embiid there. Because now without Joel Embiid, everybody steps up. And Tobias Harris got off to a torrid start in this playoffs. But we've seen him go lightning fast, and we've seen him kind of walk and crawl himself, through some quarters or through some stretches of the game. And there were some stretches late in the Washington game yesterday when the Sixers are trying to make a little push, and I see maybe a turnover from Tobias Harris. He goes in and gets it stripped. A bad shot here. Now when he's the number one option, he's the primary scoring option on offense. That's where I think it gets a little hazy, because now that there's just so much pressure on him. And now if everybody steps up, now who has to step up, and instead of giving you 17 to 20, guess who has to give you 25 to 28 now? Mr. Ben Simmons has to give you 25 to 28 now. And we're already kind of extending him, asking him to give us 20, right? So asking him to give us 28 or 25 to 28 now might be a tall task. So I think everyone in the city
seems like it based on what we've seen.
Right. But based on the evidence that we have at Bay, we know that is a lot to ask from him. And Max, you're right on all cylinders. The reason why everybody can't breathe in the city when he goes down is because they know like the title hopes stop with Joel Embiid being off the floor. And this is a time where I can really empathize with Sixers fans, man. Whenever Chris Paul hits the ground in a playoff game, I do the same thing. Like, not only is my breath taken away, but in my head, I'm like, God, here we go again. Like, not only there's 50% sadness and 50% frustration. The sadness of that it's happening to my guy and the frustration that it's happening to my guy again. So I get it, but there are no title aspirations without Joel Embiid. I don't even think you beat the Hawks without Joel Embiid next round.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with you, JJ, especially with that last point. I don't think this team beats the Hawks without Joel Embiid, and I don't think Embiid tore his ACL at all. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say when I say this. There will be no magical Nick Foles run with this 76ers team, right? Like, when Carson Wentz tore his ACL, we all said the same thing, right? Like, oh, there goes the Super Bowl. This was going to be our year. There it goes. This is a different story, right? Like, if Embiid is done for even a series, aside from this Wizards series, right? I have no concerns about Washington winning the next 3 games, although Doc Rivers with a 3-1 lead. No. I'm not going down that road.
Don't do that to yourself, man. Don't do that to yourself, man.
The news we got about Embiid is just terrifying, in my opinion. Like I would have liked to have any indication of pretty much anything other than the Woj tweet today saying they're gonna check it again tomorrow. Like, that's literally what. Like, he might as well not have said anything. I might have rather had nothing than seeing got the MRI back.
No, stop it. You would not have rather.
No, you're not. If there was, come on, man. You'd be in hell right now.
I'll take a cryptic.
You'd be in hell right now if there was no report at all. You'd literally be in hell right now.
Because they couldn't do anything until they got back to Philly,
which was at 6 a.m. But
yeah.
And look, I'm no doctor, obviously, but to me that says like there's something wrong. Like, it's not all okay. Like,
7'2", 300-pound individual hit the ground really hard.
Yeah, and the report is they're not very concerned about his long-term health. I'm not too concerned about his long-term health right now. What about the next 3 weeks? That's the health I want. I want these next 3 weeks. Who cares about the long-term health?
The worst part is I agree. I feel terrible for
y'all.
I'm
Terrible.
100%.
Y'all. I don't care about him spending quality time with his kids when he's older. I need a championship. I don't need the Hallmark.
After this banner, if you need the quality time, they hang forever.
I care about Joel Embiid as a person, everything, but let's be real here. Like, how is he going to be in 3 weeks?
You'll know tomorrow. They'll check him out tomorrow.
10 days. I need 10-day turnaround time. I need express shipping.
Oh boy.
Maybe.
Well, like we said, they're going to check Joel Embiid out again tomorrow. They've returned to Philadelphia. Obviously, they couldn't do many tests before they got back here. We're going to shift the conversation now a little bit away from the big man and go to the big cheese, the bench boss, the head honcho, Doc Rivers.
Glenn.
Yeah, this might be a Glenn moment. This might be one of them Glenn moments. I was very, very let down with Doc Rivers in just his overall coaching strategy yesterday. I mean, I don't know if we need to get into it, but how are you going to let Scott Brooks do the hack-a-ben?
What do you? I mean, we can get into it when you ask the question. But are you really going to take him out
for 38 seconds? Yes.
Put
in George Hill and look at.
I am with Banners on this one.
38 seconds. 38 take him out. Put in George Hill. Look at Ben dead in the eyes and say, "Hey, you have the final 2 minutes, but for 38 seconds, they're going to foul your ass. Sit down, George. Go."
Yeah, don't be so. Go. We'll get into it. Ask the question so we can get into it.
Oh boy. All right. Do we want to do that before we get into his post? Do we want to go in linear? Do we want to go in linear fashion?
You want to talk? Let's talk about this.
Before we get to his post game conference, let's talk about Doc Rivers during the game. I think I just laid out that's my biggest gripe with you. You let Scott Brooks outcoach you with the strategy he talked about 3 months ago. He said,
outdated as hell, by the way. That is outdated as hell.
I'm going to do this. I think it can win us a game, and it did. You're Doc Rivers. You are not supposed to get outcoached by Scott Brooks, let alone when Scott Brooks tells you what he's going to do. That's my
No,
2 cents on it.
You're right. But let's not act like Doc hasn't been stubborn before. There's a reason he blows 3-1 leads, and it's been documented that Doc Rivers has a tough time sometimes with mid series adjustments, like taking his game plan and morphing it once he sees that something is not working. Doc is very much, I have my plan at the start of the series. I want to see it through to the end. And to his credit, a majority of the time it works. He's a very successful coach, has a championship and all that. But when it comes back to bite you is when a team found a loophole in your strategy, something to go towards, and they're attacking it, and you don't adjust to their adjustments. And I don't think it comes back to bite them so hard in the Wizards series. Just like the talent disparity is too much between the Wizards and the Sixers. But that's absolutely something that comes back to bite you in the second round, in the conference finals, places where he's lost 3-1 leads before. So I'm not too surprised, I'll say, when I hear Doc Rivers say change of strategy. No, that's my best player. It's one of my best players. That doesn't surprise me too much. I've seen it before. Like the mid-series adjustments is one of the things he struggles with.
The Ben Simmons in the last 2-3 minutes, you take him out. Like you take him out. If they're fouling him, you take him out when you have the ball. Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greatest players to play the game ever, and he got taken out when other teams did this to him. Like, and especially if Ben Simmons is your point guard, your number one, the guy you want to have bring up the ball, and the other team's strategy to win the game is giving him like free points, basically, you take him out because you got George Hill right there. This isn't the exact like when Daryl Morey traded for George Hill, I'm sure he wasn't anticipating this.
Indirect reason, though, it's kind of the same lane. Yeah,
but exactly. Lane. That's what I'm saying. Like in other years, maybe you got to leave Ben Simmons out because you're not going to trust TJ McConnell in that moment. And even TJ's kind of a shaky free throw shooter. You got a guy like George Hill right there. He's been in the playoffs so many times. You just slot him in. And it's no mistake. You say, Ben, if you want to play in crunch time, you're going to be shooting 300 free throws tonight. And look, Ben obviously should know this, but I don't think it's a question. Like, yeah, I get it. You're right, JJ. Doc's stubborn, but that doesn't justify his coaching. I mean, they lost last night. Stubborn to a fault, and that's the fault.
It's tough. Max, what are your thoughts here on the in-game? Let's keep it in-game on Doc.
I mean, it is well documented. He's a stubborn guy. He kind of, I don't want to say this is like a plays a favorite moments, but that's part of his reputation is that, when he has a guy that he likes, he has a guy that he likes.
It's his guy, right?
So, I think it's just almost more frustration boiling over from the fact that Ben Simmons is in this position where he can be getting, hack a bend for 60 seconds straight as a starting point guard. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and not put some fault on him. I mean, the guy's a 60% career free throw shooter.
Yeah.
After your fourth full regular season in the league, you are what you are. Andre Drummond made the jump from a 45% free throw shooter to like a 70% free throw shooter. It can be done. He's just one in a long list of examples of guys who have figured out whatever you need to do to get that free point twice in a row. You do it to get that free point twice in a row. And quite honestly, a lot of fingers have been pointed at Ben Simmons. I think this should be I almost said the middle finger, but I guess that's just your longest finger, not really your biggest. This is when you're really trying to get to multiple fingers point. Mm-hmm. And quite honestly, if you're a starting point guard, you either need to make your free throws at the end of the game, or you need to accept that you are not a starting point guard in that time period, because one of the two things has to happen. And if you're not going to get out of the team's way and the coach isn't going to pull you out of the team's way, then the team's going to crash and burn. And that's going to be, if for some reason that's the downfall of the Sixers team, then there should and will be hell to pay.
Now, Josh, before you go, I want to ask a question to all three of you guys, all the Sixers fans on here, because when I was watching the hack of DeAndre with the Lob City Clippers, and I wanted to literally claw my eyes out, this is when it stopped happening, or when it started to stop happening, is when he went to the line and made one of two. And the last three, all the times that Ben Simmons went to the line, he made one of two. He went 50%. And that is may not be putting multiple points on the board at one time, but it's still leaving with points. And DeAndre Jordan was worse than Ben Simmons. I'm going to keep it a buck. Was way worse than Ben Simmons. He would airball both them Johns. It was bad. It was literally terrible to look at. Like we're arguing if Ben Simmons should come out of the game. There was no argument DeAndre Jordan needs to put his ass on the sideline when we're coming down the stretch of a close game. But when he started putting one in the basket, it made teams lighten up because we're not really closing the margin that much. Like even if we go get a bucket, it's still only closing at one instead of two.
No,
so when
JJ,
you start putting something on the board, it makes people go, is this really all that worth it to keep putting fouls on my team, keep putting fouls on my players? Because he's still giving them something. He's not giving them nothing.
I've been thinking about that same thing all day. It's been one of four.
It's a real question I have for y'all. It's a real question.
And I came up with my confident without a doubt answer is if Ben Simmons was a power forward or he was a center who doesn't shoot, that would be acceptable. But if you want to be the main ball handler, the guy who is hypothetically has the ball in his hands for most of the game in crunch time for the 1 seed, 1 out of 2 is absolutely unacceptable. Like I just, they're going to keep fouling him. There's a whole like analytical debate now about if you have 1 point per possession, is that beneficial? Well, if you no, I don't want to do any of that. It's the easiest thing in basketball. Like it really is. Like I hate to oversimplify it as the regular Doc would say, I don't know ball, but it's an easy, wide open shot. That's 15 feet, 12 feet. 15. And he is your point guard. It's the easiest thing to do. If the whole team strategy, they literally want, is it fair to say the Wizards won the game last night based off of Ben Simmons' free throw shooting? Like more or less. Like there was
I would say more. They won the game because Embiid went down.
But if Ben Simmons could just be a normal, if he could just make 2 free throws, they win that game.
He could make 2 out of 3.
Well, no, if he made 2 free throws the first time they did it, I say they just stop doing it right there and they play a normal basketball.
Not to do it again. Because the chances that he makes 2 the next time are so tiny, they do it again. Unless he goes to the line and makes 2 multiple times, or even just looks good. Because
if you get 4 in a row, you're exempt.
But there's a demeanor when you go to the line that tells me, Scott Brooks, for the Wizards, like we're doing the right thing. Like when Ben Simmons gets fouled and he takes a deep breath and he looks up at the sky, I know he's missing these free throws. He's not going to that line confidently. He's literally going to that line praying. I watched DeAndre Jordan do the same thing. Take too long at the free throw line, give 3 big deep breaths. Like this moment's too big. He's already psyched himself out of a free throw. There's a demeanor to it. So even if he hit the first 2 the first time, he's not gonna do it again. Like I can see where he is at the line. He's not. He doesn't want to be there.
What I'll say is when you get dapped up before the free throws, you're doing something.
There's something wrong.
That's to me you can't tell me I'm not right with that. Like it's
that's so funny.
When you get dapped up before the free throws, Scott Brooks is doing something right. I think I'll leave that one right there. But in terms of, I don't think the Sixers lost last night's game solely on
on
the free throws. I think that's 50% of it because let's be honest.
I don't think it's 50. I think it's half the story.
I would say 50. I'm going to do a pie chart. 50% right there, 25% on Doc Rivers. Literally, it's 25% on Doc Rivers. You are Doc Rivers. You are a legendary.
How much Embiid?
None to it. What do you mean?
That's separate.
Not his fault. Not his fault, but on the fact that he went out. That's what.
Well,
I don't know if I can place that on the pie chart of blame.
Because that's everything.
I don't know if I can blame that. That's more of an exigent circumstance.
Right. And that's why I said not blame, but reason as to why you lost.
All right, so
it's because of Embiid. No, the intimidation factor was gone when Embiid went off the floor.
I'll amend it. I'll split 25% in half and give it to Doc and Embiid going out. So I'll split that 25. Okay. And the last 25 is going to the officiating. I made this point. I made this point last night to you guys in the group chat. That's a fireable offense. There had to have been a performance review today. You got called in. You're not going to the 8 a.m. meeting. You're coming in, sitting down.
Bring your officiating book. Bring your rule book.
Bring everything. Bring the shirt from Foot Locker.
Yeah,
because I would like that was. I've never seen a flagrant foul officiating before. That common foul that should have been a flagrant was unbelievable. The ball was at least 2 feet away, and I would say more because Ben Simmons' wingspan, his arms were outstretched. Russell Westbrook's hands were more than 3 feet away from the basketball. They went directly from chin to neck to waist. that was as flagrant of a foul. If that let's play role reversal. Let's switch that. If Ben Simmons came in on Russell Westbrook going up, but I won't even go to the Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard would have been locked up if that had happened. If Ben Simmons came in on Russell Westbrook going in for a dunk and he went jaw, neck, waist without even getting close to the basketball,
Brody was fighting him. Brody would fight him.
That's at least a flagrant one. We'd probably be talking about a flagrant two, and the Sixers would have gotten the ball back. Being up at least 1 point. They would have been up at least 1 point if Ben Simmons bricks both of those free throws, and they would have gotten the ball back. That right there, that call being not a flagrant, being a common foul, I think wins us the game.
Yeah.
That's not even to go back even before. Like if I watch the game, wow, we could go back and talk about some of the poorest officiating crew. That team, that crew should not be officiating any more NBA playoffs.
Most of the time, I like to quiet y'all down when you're talking about like, oh, woe is me with the refs. This is probably one of the only, if not the very first time where I see it all. Like every time y'all have a complaint, I'm like, yeah, that was a terrible call. Like I'm watching these games and thinking the same thing that you guys are. And most of the time I don't. Like most of the time I think you guys are chirping, but this has been bad.
Two things regarding the whole officiating. One, the what you're talking about, Banners, that foul specifically. I think like I'm tired of the soft NBA. Like I think that should be a common foul. But the way the series has been called, and the fact that it was called a flagrant on the floor, and then they reviewed it.
They overturned it, right? That's the crazy part.
That is
really
ridiculous.
Egregious.
Like I'm in the camp where you let the boys play. This is the playoffs. If you want to foul them hard, so be it. That's a common foul. Let's play that way. But that's not the way the entire playoffs have been called at all. Like not even just the series, which I think the series has been ultra Charmin, like absolutely soft. The other thing is. The Wizards smelled blood. Dave Silver smelled blood. He said, hey, let's get a little more revenue for Game 5. He gave them a nice little call. So they're going to come in at 8 a.m. and get a little pay raise for that ad revenue, Banners.
That's ridiculous.
Maximizing
it's just like
the number of full capacity games.
Yep.
Yeah,
do you call him Dave Silver on purpose?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because I was wondering. You keep calling him Dave.
That's Dave. That's Dave. But it's just like it, and I know I said this in the group chat. All I want is consistency. You know what I mean? So if you're going to call a tough game, call a really tough game. If you're going to let the boys play, let the boys play. But I can't look at one end of the floor and see Dwight Howard literally sneeze on somebody and Westbrook goes to the line. And then Tobias Harris being a heap with two Wizards players on top of him and Ish Smith going up the floor the other way with no call.
There was one I remember where Shake Milton literally had to go completely around a defender who had two heels on the restricted areas line, and they ended up on a pile on the ground. And it was just like that by rule is a foul.
It's a foul.
And I gotta say, like, last thing, I don't want to talk about the refs too much. You know, I don't watch every single game of every single NBA season, so I'm sure if somebody ever sees this, they'll be like, actually, you're wrong. I watch a fair amount of basketball. I don't think I've ever seen the call get ruled a flagrant on the floor
and get reversed. That's my point.
Negatively reversed to just
I've never seen a flagrant get reversed ever. I've never seen it. I didn't. You're right. I thought that was against the rules. I think
I thought
possible. When you ruled it a flagrant, the only thing you're checking is for one or two. I'm not taking it back. I'm checking the severity of it.
I was aghast. I was aghast.
That's the first thing I said. I didn't even know you could do this. I didn't know you could take a flagrant back.
Yeah. Last thing on the refs.
Apparently, that was definitely ridiculous.
Apparently, me as a casual, that's the new term nowadays. A guy who likes to watch every single Sixers game and a fair amount of basketball. Apparently, I don't know what being set is anymore, or playing a verticality. Apparently, I don't know what that is because Robin Lopez smacked.
Honestly, the four of us should just go to the NBA on a personal and be like, "Hey, give us the right amount of money. We will become a full-time officiating team right now. We'll drop everything." Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I know I get paid more being an NBA ref for my current.
Oh, first of all, I would love one of my like low-key bucket list things is to tee someone up twice real quick. Bink, bink.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I would absolutely.
You're still talking.
Yep.
It is fun to tee someone up. I got to do it once in intramurals.
Give him a quick one.
What a treat.
I'd even make him a deal. I'll only fix one game a week.
One game.
I'll fix one. You're not paying me enough to mob
10K.
We're on board. We're company guys. I'll fix as many games as you want me to.
Protect the shield. I'm here for the shield.
Yeah.
I was talking about for the mob.
Oh, I'm on. I can't get in the mix with them.
I mean,
I can't get in the mix with them.
I'm pretty sure Dave Silver is the mob.
Wait, he's a mob. He's not the mob. Oh boy. All right. So that's my pie chart to blame. We talked about our gripes with Doc Rivers in game. Let's go to post game where he got a little bit flustered. He was a little bit frustrated. The reporters, D Lineham most notably, was they were giving it to Doc. They were giving it to Doc, and I think his frustration came out when he was asked about Ben Simmons and Ben Simmons free throw shooting. And he, for some reason, felt the need to restate. He got spicy. He felt the need to restate that Ben Simmons is not going to be a 40-point scorer. Now, for people out there, we know Ben Simmons has scored 40 points in a game versus the Utah Jazz. We all watch basketball. That happened. We saw it. We know that. But for some reason, Doc Rivers felt the need to restate that Ben Simmons is not going to be a regular 40-point scorer and go on to defend Ben Simmons and this, that, and the other thing. It's just like, dude, like, we also have eyes. Like, you can tell me I don't know ball as much as the next guy, but I know enough to where you know what? I'm going to get off my soapbox. Max, how do you feel about Doc Rivers' post-game comments?
The ever optimist in me just wants to leave it at, he's a coach defending his guy, but I can't bring myself to actually, formulate that opinion and say it with a straight face. So I think it's just kind of sour grapes. I think that Doc realized that he got out coached by Scott Brooks, which hurts to say in any capacity. And I mean, yeah, like that's the heat of the moment. We see it with players all the time. You're pissed after a tough loss where maybe you're the guy who missed the open three to tie the. You know what I mean? Just anything like that. And people are naturally hard on themselves when they make mistakes. And I think part of it was that, and I think that there was maybe just a dash of, hey, I'm up 3-0 in the series, have dominated and lost my MVP candidate halfway through the first half. Could you guys maybe, throw me just
give me a break? Yeah, give me a break.
So I think that's what of what it ultimately boiled down to. But yeah, I mean, we all know that Doc Rivers, he's a player's guy. He's never going to be the kind of guy who is like Ben Simmons was bad at free throws and he should be better at free throws. He's never going to say that in the press conference. So I think that it is what it is, and hopefully this is just a bump in the road. I think that's really the most positive spin I can put on this.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, how you feeling?
I mean, I think, Max, like what you said, it wasn't like wrong, but like you said it yourself, like you're choosing to be the optimist here. Like what, like he's definitely protecting his players, and that's what everyone does for the most part nowadays. And like I get it, I'm for one reason or another, I tend to be the boomer of the group with my old-fashioned ideals. But
old man Safran, here he goes, old man Safran.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm ready.
What I get from that is it's softness and complacency. Like that's what I'm hearing. It's like what I'm hearing is it's okay for Ben Simmons to shoot 50% from the free throw line. Like look at everything else he can do that's so well. It's okay that we lost today. We're up 3-0. And to me, it's not okay. And it's like, I'm not worried about the Wizards, but oh my gosh, I just wanted to get out of there with a nice sweep. In fact, I made plans to see a movie on Wednesday night. And
wow.
Sierra Green,
brazen
social, man. I was looking forward to it. Like
you can get them tickets away. You can get them tickets away.
Oh my gosh, like
no movie.
But like back to what I was saying though, complacency. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Like we want more out of Ben Simmons, and we talked about this last week. Do we need more out of Ben Simmons? Max and I agreed. I don't need more out of Ben Simmons. What I need, free throws, and we just saw it. And we can debate about how much the free throws lost them the game or whatnot, but it sure as hell didn't help you win that game. And he's just seemed very accepting. Throw your hands up. Ben does so many things great. Oh, if you want me to sit Ben Simmons, you don't know ball. When, as I said at the top of the show, Shaquille O'Neal got sat for this reason. I don't think anyone would try and argue that Ben is a better player than Shaq. Like, it doesn't matter how good he is. If you can't make free throws when it matters, you got to get benched. And he just seemed Ben seemed like he had a temper tantrum. He was caught in the act, and he couldn't just say I messed up. He was just, you don't know ball, and I do. You know what I mean? I really rubbed me the wrong way. I like Doc. I think he's a good coach, but just I did not like the complacency, and I want him to get more out of Ben, because that was a big knock on Brett Brown, that he wasn't getting enough out of Ben Simmons. I think you could say the same about Glenn, and I'm not saying Brett Brown is better than Glenn Rivers, but I think that same thing is true about Doc, which makes you wonder, how much is it about the coach and how much is it about the player and him being stubborn?
Yeah, and Josh, I agree with a little bit of what you're saying. Obviously, disagree with a little bit of what you're saying as well. But when you talk about the comparison, I want to hit that first between Brett Brown and what Doc Rivers is getting out of Ben Simmons. Both of them aren't getting that much on the offensive end, but Ben Simmons was always known as a really good upper echelon defensive player in the NBA. He didn't get defensive player of the year nods with Brett Brown. So what I think Doc Rivers did is he said, I know what you are. You know what you are, and you're not going to go out and score 40 points on a nightly basis. You have the ability to pop off for a game or a stretch of games, but consistently, you're not going to be 25 plus a night. I know that. What you can be is the best defender in the NBA. And since I know you can be that, we're going to lock in on that end. And he got that out of him. And I think now when I go back to the press conference sort of thing, what I'm seeing out of Doc Rivers is a coach that's telling the media, telling the Philly fans, hey, I'm the coach. Y'all are the fans. I got it. Can y'all let me get it? Can y'all let me coach?
It's the wrong time for that.
And that's my next point. That's my next point. He's been in LA too long. He's been with the laissez-faire. Oh, you got it, people, way too long. This is Philly. He's got to channel Doc Rivers in Boston, where he had to go toe-to-toe with the media to earn their respect, toe-to-toe with the fans to earn their respect. And right now, he's in the y'all need to relax. Josh, you said it. Max, you said it. We're up 3-0. I lost my MVP, and we still lost a close game, and it came down to free throws. So let me get back to the drawing board. Let me get back to my guys. Let me get back healthy, and I got it. Y'all need to relax. You don't know more than me. That's what I'm seeing him say to everybody. And ingrained in that is I'm protecting Ben, because I know Ben is a great player despite the missed free throws and stuff at the end of the game. I'm protecting my team and the integrity of what's going on in the series, because we lost our best player and our MVP candidate unexpectedly. So that's what I'm seeing out of Doc Rivers in these press conferences. And 95% of cities in America, 99% of cities in America, that works. Philadelphia is like one of three where it doesn't, where fans are like, what do you mean? What do you mean you know more than me? What do you mean shut up? Like, no, because you didn't win, so you're doing it wrong.
So could all of this been alleviated, I guess, is my overall gripe. Could all of this been alleviated if Doc Rivers just came out and said, yeah, my fault. Needs to hit free throws.
It'd be quiet. It'd be quiet by today. I promise you, it'd be quiet by today. If either one of them, it doesn't have to be just both of them. If one of them said, "Hey, I get it. I got to be better at the free throw line." But
doesn't Ben Simmons usually respond to challenges? Like when players
challenges he knows he can beat. But challenges he knows that he can.
I guess that's a good point. But like when players piss him off, when Jared Dudley pissed him off, Ben came back and yammed on him for what was it, 30 something, like,
because he can do that.
But it's free throws.
He can do
it's so easy.
But like Max said, he's
one
in a long line of players who can get better at free throws. You know what would have alleviated this? Doc Rivers saying, yeah, he needs to hit those free throws. And those gym pictures Ben Simmons likes to post, hit it. Give me one of those at 1:30 in the morning at the practice facility, shooting free throws.
Ooh, some Jimmy Butler energy.
Here's the tough talk, Philly fans. Here's the tough talk, guys. Here's the tough talk. Some people have limitations someplace. And I've been saying this for a long time. And I usually say it about his jump shot, but I think it kind of goes over to his free throws as well. That some people, as much as you practice it, as much as you try it, you might not be able to do it. I could go outside right now and I could try to do a standing backflip for 300 times every day. And if you give me a year, I probably still won't be able to do a standing backflip. Like,
Don't sell yourself short.
there is just I just know my limitations. I just know I'm breaking a leg before I land one of
We're
these standing
talking about
backflips.
a free
spry.
throw here.
Yeah. Hey. Some people got limitations, Josh. Some people got limitations, man.
I'm not. You
just
know what?
saying.
I'm not going to accept that. If
I'm just saying.
Andre
I'm
Drummond,
just saying.
if Andre Drummond can do
You talk
it,
about Andre
no.
Drummond. For every Andre Drummond, there's a Dwight Howard. There's a guy who tried it for years and years and years and never got better.
Dwight Howard isn't a point guard.
There's
an all-star point guard on the number 1 seed. If Ben Simmons can't shoot free throws, then get on the low block, big fella.
I hear you. You're wrong. You're going at the wrong person, Josh. I promise. You're going at the wrong person. I'm just here to tell you. Some people got limitations.
Not accepting it. Not buying
Some people got limitations. You can bang your head against that wall all you want to. Some people have limitations.
Give me a wall.
Yeah.
Some people have limitations, man. It's okay.
Give me a wall.
You gotta live with it.
Do I get a helmet?
You got a helmet.
I get a helmet. Oh,
no helmet for me, man.
Give me that wall. I'm gonna bash my head straight through it. Oh, boys. Question number 3. We touched on it a little bit earlier in the show. We saw 12 players last night. I think that fact kind of might like sneak up on people.
Mm-hmm.
We saw 12 players last night in the playoffs. 12 players. That's kind of like
the whole roster.
It's crazy because we had so many discussions of this rotation can't go outside of 8-9 players tops if things are going well. When it's not, that means something bad's happening. Something bad happened last night, but there are exigent circumstances like we talked about before. So I'm going to come around. Josh.
Yeah.
Saw 12 players last night, like I said. Is this just a first round thing, or do we think the rotations look this way throughout the playoffs? And you can take that however you want to. Like we said, there's some reasons why it happened, but what does this rotation look like to you?
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, no, JJ, I get what you're saying about don't get too spicy.
Don't get too spicy with it.
Because the thought is like, why is Mike Scott playing? And that's a direct correlation with Embiid being out for the game, which I gotta hope, other than the next game, we're not going to see that happen for the rest of the playoffs.
Hope not.
But on that note, like just real quick, I would rather play B-ball Paul than Mike Scott. Mike Scott got the ball in his hands. Mike Scott got the ball in his hands, had a wide open shot, and wouldn't look at the rim. And then I'm pretty sure someone on the bench must have been yelling like, Mike, like, shoot it if you're open. Right. And then he did, and it looked horrible. And like, it was just bad. But the 12 players thing, I'm kind of on the fence about this because, JJ, I think you said it earlier where having 10 guys is good because your 10 can become your 7. But
that was Max, but yeah.
Yeah, it was Max. Got to give credit where credit's due here. But it's just I don't like we said, I forget, it was an Eagles thing where we were talking about the too many cooks. That's what I'm worried about with this. You know, you have 5 potential guys that could come off the bench. Sometimes I think it's just better to keep it simple where you have your 5 starters and you got your 3 guys you can go to off the bench, you know, whether it be Maxey if he's ready, you know, you got Thibault and you know you got Dwight, and who knows what kind of Dwight we're going to see. Seeing Furkan be able to play, he's definitely earned a spot in the rotation. But what's that saying about if you have a bunch of good players, you're not really a great team? Like, you need those few, like, killers. Like, you know exactly what you're getting from them every single night. And I think other than Matisse Thybulle and George Hill, you don't have that.
Maxey.
And see, I'm not like I think he's great.
But this is 2 times now. This is 2 times now where he's gotten playoff minutes and produced very well.
He's still a rookie. There's a very good chance you could throw him in the Eastern Conference Finals and he can fall flat. Like, I wouldn't trust Tyrese Maxey in the Eastern Conference Finals. I would throw him out there, but like that's the point I'm making. Like, I would much rather have 3 or 4 guys who you know you're getting production from, rather than we got this rookie who's lighting it up against the Wizards. But I don't know how this bench is going to do come Eastern Conference Finals, or let alone the Hawks or the Knicks. Still not counting the Knicks out. Love my Knicks. But yeah, you know, I'm on the fence. There's some positives to be taken away from it. But at the end of the day, I think it's a little bit shaky that you don't have a set in stone 5 guys or even 4 guys.
Interesting. JJ, what did you take from seeing 12 players last night?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I watched the 12 angry Sixers out there, I thought this is a deep rotation. Like, but out of necessity, right? Like, you have to do that. When you lose your MVP, when you lose the best player, you go into scramble mode a little bit. And luckily, you went into scramble mode up 3-0. But you have to go into scramble mode for at least the game, because when do you ever prepare for not having your best player MVP candidate for 3.5 quarters? Like, when do you ever prepare for that? You never do that. So it puts you into scramble mode. But the reason you shorten your playoff rotation is exactly that, Josh. Like, the significant few outweigh the insignificant many. Like, you need to have a set lineup of 7-8 guys max who know who they're going to be on the court with. They establish that chemistry, and we move on through the playoffs. I don't need a revolving door of players going deep into the postseason, because I know, like, there hasn't been a huge amount of time where Tobias Harris has played with Paul Reed, or where, Danny Green has played with Matisse Thybulle. Like, these guys haven't played extended minutes together. So I need the 7-8 guys who have always been on the court. That's who's going to take me deep into the playoffs. When you start to get to 9 and 10 deep, that's a little bit too much. So, I think we saw 12 out of necessity. And if we have to continue to see 12, it's out of necessity, and that's bad. Like, as soon as you can go back to 7 and 8 again, you have to do that. So, and I think maybe all of that depends on the health of Joel Embiid. We'll see. But now, definitely, you don't want to see, the next showing of 12 Angry Sixers. That needs to close after 1 week on Broadway. That definitely needs to close.
Max, what'd you take out of this 12-man fiasco?
Honestly, I didn't really take anything. This is just like, it's the first round. There's a huge talent disparity. Even our 10th and 11th guys are just on par with the Wizards bench.
No, Marcus Gafford was giving it to y'all when B went out. Marcus Gafford got
okay. I mean, maybe not our backup big, but I mean, guys like George Hill, for example, is 7 or 8 off the bench for us, and he's easily getting playing time over Howell Neto and Ish Smith on the Wizards. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm getting at here. I think I'm going to leave it at this. Come back to me in the second round / Embiid is healthy. Those two criteria need to be met for me to really have any. I mean, it doesn't even matter if we play 10 or 12. Like, if we don't have Embiid, then we don't have Embiid. We're going to have to play that many.
Literally, I say, and I say, like, almost nothing matters if you don't have Embiid. Like, all of these are moot talking points if Embiid's not there, because literally
nothing matters in the world.
Yeah, really.
Literally.
Like, literally nothing matters, because it's a loss, I think, if with no Embiid.
And I think that I forgot to say this earlier. I think that I didn't give my answer on the first question. My viewpoint on the Sixers hasn't changed because we knew this. We knew my viewpoint on the team of the Sixers has not changed. My view of their title aspirations has. So that's exactly that point right there.
Sanders, real quick, yes or no? Did yesterday give you any more faith in Furkan getting playoff minutes?
He could eat up some end of half minutes.
Yeah, what I'll say is, I don't know if it gave me more faith, because I still think that the way Doc seems to stagger Danny Green and Seth Curry coming back into the game from when they go out, I think your shooting quota your spacing quota is taken up by those two. So he becomes, Furkan doesn't have that. I am needed. Yeah. You know what I mean? So exactly, like the way he staggers those two shooters coming back in off the bench, I still think Maxey gets more, or should get more of those minutes, and Shake Milton should not see the floor. That's just so. I don't think it. I don't think faith is a question. I think it's just that's just how it is. Let's see, our last question in the main event. Oh boy, why do we have to do this? We could have just talked all basketball. Like, and this is me saying
I know what this is going to be.
This is me saying this, and I think I even deleted I think I might have deleted the graphic accidentally because of just like how like
how disgusting how
subliminally I just didn't want to talk about this.
It absolutely disgusted you.
The Phillies, they drop both in Tampa and they go to Cincinnati. By the way, the records they have in Cincinnati are historically bad. If you guys didn't watch the beginning of the game yesterday, the Phillies have the second worst winning percentage at Great America Park. What is that, Great America?
Yeah, it's Great America.
Yeah, Great America in Cincinnati. They have the second worst winning percentage at Great America ever for an NL team.
Yeah.
And then their that was the main stat. There was another stat there that was kind of crazy, but that was like, that's bad because it's not like Cincinnati has been a powerhouse since even before I've been alive. Like the Great Red Machine had Ken Griffey Sr. That was a long time ago. So it's needless to say the Phillies are not doing good. At this point in the season, do you expect the Phillies to turn it around at all? Or is it looking like another year of disappointment? And I'm going to say disappointment, boys.
I mean, this team has year of disappointment written all over it.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's different? Like it's funny.
screaming.
For opening weekend, we all were. Josh is probably the only one not really drinking the Kool-Aid because he hops on bandwagons like as they're taking off. But like all of us are drinking the Kool-Aid, right? They sweep the Braves. They're like a little bit different doing it. Aaron Nola goes deep. The bullpen doesn't blow a lead. We're like, oh my god, the Phillies are doing different things than they normally do. And then a month and a half later, doing the same exact damn things that we've been doing.
Put the clown nose on all of us, honestly.
God, like no run support, blowing leads. Roman Quinn is hurt. Like, what is different? What is different?
Yeah.
Like, literally, what is different?
What I will say is there is still a path. I mean, dude, like they're only 3 games under 500. They're only, I think, like 3.5, 4 games out of first place because nobody's running away with this division. You're still ahead of Atlanta. No. You're not. No, Atlanta jumped into the number 2, but you are not far behind Atlanta. The Atlanta Braves, the Braves are still under 500 as well, and the Mets are, if they're not already collapsing, like mid.
I think the Mets are in first by default. Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
they have Jacob DeGrom, who's for some reason.
He literally won them a game on Memorial Day with his head.
Jacob DeGrom is the best pitcher in baseball by far, and they are not doing him justice at all. It's a goddamn shame. But like,
didn't the Mets have another game postponed as well?
They had like 3 straight there postponed. I don't know if they have another one.
They have like 5 or 6 games less played. I mean,
it's
just
exactly.
Just for the record.
Yeah, there's still a path for the Phillies to come out either A and win this division or get into the playoffs. But even if they do that, I'm still saying it's a disappointment. Like
we're already disappointed.
Yeah,
like it's not disappointment; it's disappointed. It's past tense. They've already disappointed us.
I mean, like here's my thing with the Phillies. I guess is like this sucks. Like this really sucks. But I can't see it getting any worse than this. Like that's my. I'm serious. I mean, everybody's injured. Everybody's injured. Your players who are supposed to be good aren't playing well. Like, listen, I know that it's a very dangerous statement, especially talking about the Phillies and looking at the recent history, but I have to imagine there's going to be some regression to the mean or a progression to the mean of these guys' career batting averages and career, track record shows. So do I think they're going to be winning any pennants this year? Absolutely not. But I have to imagine that things have to get a little better. Like, I think things will get at least a little better.
Based on what are they showing you? What if they showed you losing us, clawing a series split against the Marlins, which still baffles me, losing both to the Rays, getting ransacked by the Reds? Like what in the past week, 2 weeks of Phillies baseball is showing you, it's going to get better?
Oh, absolutely nothing in the last week, 2 weeks. I mean, but what I'm saying is
Josh is playing the numbers.
Right. I mean, just by the numbers, I think this team is around a 500 ball club, and these last 2 weeks, they've had key players missing and some of their best players underperforming. Mr. Nola and even Archie Bradley had a pretty terrible outing when he came back. Like, I don't think this team is going to do anything fantastic this season. What I'm saying is, if you look at the last 2 weeks, it's been pretty rough circumstances, and even still, I think they should have played a little better. I just think guys are going to get a little healthier. And I think Nola is going to be okay. Everyone's freaking out about Nola. I still have faith in Aaron Nola. That's just my thing. I'm not saying that they're going to be running away with the playoffs. I just think I really hope and I believe this is as bad as it's going to get.
I would agree with that. I would agree. I think that I'm still optimistic about, and I'm not optimistic about the long-term chances of this year's team, but this team is better than it's been playing. I mean, Gregorius is hurt. Bryce Harper, if you look at his stat lines, is before he went down on the IL. And Bryce Harper has had some of the worst luck in baseball this year.
He also took a fastball to his face.
That's what I mean. Like he's gotten beat up by baseball recently. So, like, if you look at his stats, he is still an elite player. So this team is better than it looks. There's still a trade deadline to get a center fielder, to get a back end of the rotation arm. Zach Eflin is having the season that we thought he would. He's a number 3 pitcher. It's like Zach Eflin looks like a solid middle of the rotation guy. Zach Wheeler is a bona fide superstar. Whatever he figured out when he came over from New York to Philadelphia, Zach Wheeler is a top 10 pitcher in the game of baseball right now, and we got him at a bargain bin price. Like for what those type of pitchers are being paid, we underpaid for him. This team's better than it's playing right now. So I think, Josh, you're right. I think even if they do still play like that, this season is overall a disappointment because I don't see him going past the wild card or the divisional series. It's just it's a disappointment. This is we're wasting time.
I think I'm most frustrated because last year we went 500, but the Braves were really, really good. The year before that, we went 500, but the Nationals won the World Series. No one saw that coming. So, like, other years, there's been other things that have kind of like, yeah, the Phillies were disappointing, but like, were we really going to do anything anyway? Not really. This year, like, why can we not take advantage of an NL East that's underperforming all around the board? Everyone, this was supposed to be the best division in baseball, and with the Braves are under 500, and the Mets are the Mets. Like, the Mets shouldn't be a divisional lead right now. Like, why can't we be the team to take advantage of a down league? Like, if the Braves are under 500, the Phillies should be in first place. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, last 2 things on the Phillies. We are seeing before our eyes the next great Phillies killer, the next great Chipper Jones in Jazz Chisholm of the Miami Marlins. We're seeing the birth of the next Phillies killer, unfortunately.
Jazz got a lot of swag, too. I like it.
Yeah, I do like me some Jazz, but during that series split versus the Marlins, we're seeing the next great Phillies killer come into his own, and I have one of those like retractable leashes for Joe, for big man Joe. It's coming back in real quick.
I don't
like it's like I'm kind of like he's kept the same pace, but like I'm realizing that I'm giving him like I'm seeing a dog come up like 2 blocks away, and I'm like, oh, that's a mean dog. So I'm kind of catching up, and the leash is getting shorter. You know what I mean? One of those situations.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hell of an analogy.
What was that?
That's one hell of an analogy.
I thought it was good.
Paint hell of a picture, don't he? Paint hell of a picture, don't he?
Tied it all together for sure.
I'm a wordsmith.
Real quick before we move to the rapid fire, heard a stat today that blew my mind. Reading fighting Phils, the future of your organization, 4-21 to start the year. So
hell yeah, we're back.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. They can't develop prospects to save their life anyway.
Well, hey, Bryson Stott just got
the call.
Stott just got elevated to Reading, who Reading also has just been told this week that by my Major League Baseball and extension minor league baseball that they have to make extensive upgrades to their ballpark in
First
Reading,
Energy
to First Energy Stadium or be forced to relocate.
First Energy down bad like that?
It's not great.
I love me some FE.
I mean, we like it for nostalgia purposes, but nostalgia only takes you.
I also haven't been to a Reading Phillies game in years, so like I probably remember what it looked like.
You said it. That First Energy's down bad.
Down bad.
That's going to do it for our first half, and hopefully we don't talk about the Phillies ever again. Now, I like baseball too much not to. But this is a good opportunity for me to tell you about our friends over at PHL Sports Nation. Check out our friends, exactly like I said, over at Philadelphia Sports Nation, a local Philadelphia sports site covering all your favorite sports teams across blogs, social media. Check them out at phlsportsnation.com. Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Thanks again to our guys over there at PHL Sports Nation. They've given us guys like Mr. Jockler a couple weeks back, a couple of our guests. Was that Brandon Apter who hopped on with us?
That was a great episode last week too.
Or Jolliker, I'm sorry. Jolliker's always his name. It psychs me out when I see it. It psychs me out. There's something in here. It's a great name. So thanks again to our guys over at PHL Sports Nation. Second half. Rapid fire. Here we go. Starting in football. Julio or Julio? Okay, Julio or Julio? No, Max. Do we want him, and at what cost? Rapid fire.
Julio, no point in doing that. Like, who even wants to do that? Like, yeah, sure, I would love him on the Eagles, like to watch him. Yeah,
Josh
I know.
Allen.
It does nothing for you. It does
Yeah,
nothing.
it does nothing
for
for
you.
us. It does nothing for him. It
Does nothing for you.
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't make sense. It it just
Josh,
doesn't
you're
make
wrong.
sense. Honestly,
Yeah,
it'd
you
be
gotta
sweet.
take the other. You gotta take the other ones for. Answer this, Josh. Does getting Julio make you a Super Bowl contender? No. Does getting Julio make you a Super Bowl contender?
No.
Okay, so what are the Falcons asking for Julio? A first-round pick. You got 3 of them. Why give up one of your first-round picks in the next year's draft to get a player who doesn't move you closer to a title?
First of all, they're not getting a first-round pick for Julio Jones. It's not going to happen. Like I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think they will. I will agree with
They
that.
might not after Shannon Sharp put him on board for national TV.
For real.
They might not. They lost a lot of leverage doing that.
That's what I think too.
They lost a lot of leverage.
I think the
that.
price is
if y'all called, I'm making y'all give me a first. I know you got 3 of them. I'm making you give me a first.
No, I think you can get him for like a second and like a fourth or something like that. And here's my thing with Julio Jones is
you have to pay him.
Are they a Super Bowl team? Well, that's not my money. Are you a Super Bowl team this season? No, you're not. But
he's 34.
Bringing in Julio Jones would expedite Devontae Smith's growth. I think major. Like you got Devontae Smith and Jalen Reagor, and you got no one else other than that. Yeah, Greg Ward. Yeah, Travis Fulgham. No. Bring in Julio Jones. You can help develop Smith and Reagor. I think such a great amount, and he's not just gonna fall off a cliff next year. And I think next year's team can really compete with Julio Jones. Oh, come on. Listen, we'll remember. I'll remember
He's
this.
a wide receiver. He plays the most dependent position in the NFL. So if everything else around him is not going well, having Julio Jones in your offense doesn't make you all of a sudden a competitive team.
I think it does because you have legitimate weapons offensively if you bring Julio Jones here, and I think he can really help.
How many weapons?
I mean, it makes you a better team, but like it doesn't.
By what? It makes you
5 wins to 6.
That's my point. You're still on the playoffs. You're still doing it, and now you just gave up one of your future building pieces. Like,
what's the knock? What has always been the major knock on Julio Jones? He doesn't score. That's like he does. Like he
doesn't get thrown to in the red zone.
He drops the ones he gets thrown in the red zone. But like that's always the knock. He'll rack up 200-yard games and he won't have a touchdown. What does that do for you as a team where you're paying him something? You're paying him something north of $24 million a year, and your problem side of the ball is defense.
Oh well, that's a total. Like I can't disagree with you there, Ben. It's like, yeah, you're right about that.
So then what are we talking about?
Well, you're handcuffing yourself if you go and grab Julio. You're handcuffing yourself to make a move on defense.
Well, now they're not making a trade.
You're putting yourself in a bad situation to make a guy who's a storied veteran unhappy. He doesn't want to be part of a rebuild. Right. He just had to sit through that the last 3 years since they lost the Super Bowl.
Josh, if you're talking about, I actually don't know, because to me, Eagles trading for a wide receiver doesn't do anything for them. Like if you're gonna make a trade, it's gonna be like a building piece trade, a linebacker, a lineman, defensive back. Like, I don't think you make a trade for a weapon right now. Like that's a last piece of the puzzle thing to go win a championship, like going to grab Julio. I just don't think it does anything for the Eagles. I think it'd be a waste of time.
It's Julio Jones to me means paying $50 million for 2 years before he inevitably wants out or it doesn't work out and they need to cut salary, and raising expectations now and putting them on a first-year head coach who's never been anything but a coordinator, a new defensive coordinator who's never been anything besides an assistant coordinator and position coach. I'm pretty sure he only spent 1 year as an assistant coordinator. Like, why would you spend that much money to make a Hall of Famer unhappy, not give him the end to his career he would like, just to quote unquote develop Devontae Smith, which we're not really sure that's going to happen, and raise expectations and make yourself angry?
Josh, I don't blame you for wanting to see some excitement because you get Julio, you're going to have 3, 4, 5 really exciting moments this season. It's going to be really fun to watch at those 4 or 5 moments. It's going to be really cool. And you'll probably love it in those moments. But the rest of the time, you're going to be like, damn, this probably wasn't it.
I think the Eagles, I think
wasn't it.
the Eagles have a shot at making the playoffs this season, and if they get Julio Jones,
Oh my God.
I will really think they're going to make the playoffs. So that's what it comes down to.
You know what?
They can
I gotta respect you for the hill that you have built for yourself that you have chosen to die on.
I did. My hills are pretty good except for the Brett Brown one, and that was before the show. So I don't even need to bring it up.
The hills have eyes, Josh. The hills have eyes.
Our last question for rapid fire deals with one of the best receivers. I won't say wide receiver. One of the best receivers, the best tight end in Eagles history, Zach Ertz. It's been messy, to say the least. I don't think we need to dive into too much backstory for Zach Ertz. And I'm going to give you which is more likely here. Okay. So what is more likely here is Zach Ertz going to be on the Eagles in 2021. Julio Jones is on the Eagles. The Phillies make the playoffs, or the Sixers win the finals. We're running the gambit here. We're running the gambit here.
Run through them again because they run through them again.
We're running the gambit. Which is more likely?
Okay.
Zach Ertz is on the Eagles in 2021.
Wow.
Julio Jones is on the Eagles in 2021.
Wow.
The Philadelphia Phillies make the playoffs in 2021, or your Philadelphia 76ers win the NBA Finals in 2021. Zach Ertz Eagles, Julio Jones Eagles, Phillies playoffs, Sixers NBA champions. Which is more likely? Josh, I'm throwing you right to the fire.
It's funny because I made this question and I don't have an answer.
I don't got an answer. I don't got an answer. I'm glad you went first.
Man, which one is more likely? Well, it's not Zach Ertz on the Eagles.
No,
I'm going to tell you that one. And that's how the question was created because I was like, how do I contextualize the chances of Ertz being on the Eagles, like being that low?
You just type one number, it's 0.
I think it's the Phillies making the playoffs.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Maybe if last night didn't happen the way it did and we had an MRI result, I would say the Sixers. But as we stand, like right here, I'm going to say Phillies making the playoffs.
I didn't think anybody would go Phillies. I'm
teetering.
All right. So JJ, which is more likely? Zach Ertz, Eagles, Julio Jones, Eagles, Phillies playoffs, Sixers champions.
I just pictured myself saying Phillies going to the playoffs out loud, and it didn't sound right. So like,
it didn't feel right.
It didn't feel right because here's the thing with the Sixers. The Sixers, like winning the championship, is very viable. Much more viable than any other these things going on down here. The only reason it's even in this is because Joel Embiid is injured. Now, an MRI comes back negative. He even maybe misses game 5, but the Sixers win. He's got a long rest till the second round, and maybe we're not talking about this. And now it's literally a home run, no doubt about it, answer. The Phillies, even if the Phillies are back 100% healthy, like they might still be sitting in the same spot that they're sitting now. We can give them the handicap of injuries. We all know our fighting Phils. Everyone could be healthy. The same stuff could be happening with or without injuries. So for that reason, I gotta go. The most likely of these things happening is your number one seed in the conference gets your healthy MVP back and wins the championship because it could happen.
Max.
I kind of thought I had free reign over picking the Sixers to win the title, so I didn't really prepare for anything else. If I really want to try and go out there on a limb, I'll say Zach Ertz is an Eagle officially week 1, but not by week 4.
I guess that's in 2021. I guess that's technically, yeah.
Interesting. Oh boy, I want to say something different here. Like it's
say Julio.
Well, no, I can't do that after the.
That's the you weren't even paying attention option. You know what I mean?
Right.
Pick that one on your online test.
Yeah. The tirade I just went on. I can't pick Julio. Oh boy, you know what? You might have actually talked me into the Phillies thing because I said a little bit about it. I think I have to go Phillies here because Zach Ertz is not going to be here. Like the teams like what did San Francisco?
The Bills just restructured Diggs today.
That's where it was.
To clear up like almost $8 million in cap space.
Yeah, the Bills restructured. They're in total effort mode. Like if Zach Ertz can help us bring him in. He's not going to be here. Julio Jones, not going to be here. The Sixers, it's definitely a fight between the Phillies and Sixers. And I want to say the Sixers just to go be that guy. But, the Phillies, we talked about it. That division is just bad. Atlanta is severely underachieving. Mike Soroka just got the bad news about his Achilles. And the Mets are the Mets, man. Like the Mets is an acronym for must end the season. Like it's like
wow.
You never heard that?
Never heard that.
You never heard that one?
That's great.
Yeah, must end the season. So it's you know what I mean? Like it's
great.
I gotta go Phillies here. It is am I
You know
wrong?
you wanted to.
No,
It
you're
feels
not
right.
wrong. I almost changed my board behind me just now. That was that good. I gotta remember that.
You never heard that one?
I've literally never heard that.
Oh yeah.
Am I the only one who's never heard that before? Like Josh and
so.
Max, you've heard that before?
I think I've heard Banners say.
I mean, let me get out the rock from under that from which under I live. But that was great. That was great. I thought you made it up, Banners. You should have kept that because I would have thought you were the most clever person on the planet.
No, because like Vinny from South Philly would have found out where I live. You know what I mean? That's gonna do it for rapid fire. We're gonna get into tap outs to wrap up the show. Who wants to go first on tap outs?
Banners, I'll take the tap out first.
Oh, here we go.
I went golfing today for the first time of the summer.
Oh, really?
I am horrible at golf, by the way. Like I am absolutely terrible. Love going golfing though. So it's just very annoying when I go out golfing and you got the people behind you and they're just so blatantly annoyed with you because you're bad and they have to wait behind you. And I'm playing with my friends who are also bad. And it's like, just go to a nicer golf course. Like me and my friends are playing at the cheapest golf course we can find. And we got Mr. Mickelson and Mr. Woods behind us shooting us dirty looks. And I'm like, dude, just go to a nice golf course. Like I paid $17 to play my 9 holes. All right. Like, let me come in, have my fun, be bad, and get out without having to worry about everyone around me. And it just happened today. Today was fine. I've had people yell at me, telling me I suck. I'm like, I know I suck. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I need you to tell me that. First of all, that's a hell of a deal. It's a steal. $17 for 9.
Oh yeah. Yes,
my
sir.
goodness. I don't know where you found that. My goodness.
Golf Now app. You go on the Golf Now app and you click on hot deals. They got plenty. Makes it. I'm not an early riser, especially in the summer when there's no school going on. But hey, for $17 round of golf, I'll get up early.
Josh, that's the exact reason I refuse to go golfing with my friends. I can't deal with the heckles. Can't deal with the hecklers. Can't deal with it.
Tune them out. No Ben Simmons mentality.
Too quiet everywhere else. They're the only ones making noise. I can't tune them out.
I'll tap out next.
Great.
I would like to remind. Hey, all right. So the Philadelphia restrictions got moved up 2 days from June 4th to June 2nd for pretty much all restrictions being
Just
lifted.
for Game 5.
I would like to point A, point B. Point A, don't lose that respect. Don't lose that respect that you gained during quarantine. You know what I mean? Like I still hate people. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
I don't want to be touched anymore. I don't want to be touched by random people.
Just because restrictions got lifted doesn't mean we go back to. I hated nightclubs. I hate nightclubs anyway. Don't be all up on, like, give me at least 5. Like, you don't got to be 6 feet anymore. Give me at least 5. I don't like you. Okay. Like, let's this right here. That's good. Stay over there. I don't like you. And 2, well, A and B, I'm realizing that I'm still going to carry a mask. Like, I'm still going to carry a mask because I don't know how me as a person that I was like so comfortable walking into the quality of places that I've gone in and like the bathrooms and like I was okay with this. Like,
definitely keep that thing on you. Definitely keep that thing on.
Like that's back pocket. It's like wow. Like
stay strapped.
You know that 3 like for every guy out there, for every man that the 3 pat you do before leaving the house, phone, wallet, keys, real quick. The pat.
Yes, you go.
That now gained a 4th pat.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's now
both back cheeks get one.
Exactly. The mask is the other back pocket next to the wallet. It's right there. It's pop. You know what I mean? So I can't believe I was that comfortable before.
You might have just patented something. The pop.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
quick,
do
Yeah,
it.
quick triple
pop
pap.
on it.
The 4-pack.
Yeah, the
That's
quad
how you
pap.
avoid getting
The quad
sued.
pap.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Who's going next?
I can go next. Mine's real simple, man. And I'm only echoing a sentiment and a thought that I've had today and kind of a couple of times over the past week. And I don't know who needs to hear this, so I'm gonna just say it to everybody. Keep going, keep working, keep grinding, whatever you path you've set yourself on. If you haven't heard it from anybody, I'm the person telling you right now that don't give up. Like if you've thought about kind of putting it down, doing something else, you think it's not for you, I'm the person that you need to hear it from. Keep going, keep working at it, and you're going to see results at some point. So that's all. Just a little PSA real quick. Yes, sir.
Love that.
My G-Way.
Max Coolish.
So I actually thought I wasn't going to have a tap out because I thought JJ was just going to, kind of go right off his board. So, I mean, it's been staring at you in the face all episode, so I won't go too deep into it. But just take a page out of Naomi Osaka's book. I get it that, the everyday person might not be able to relate to just being able to shrug off a pretty sizable facet of their job when they want to. But, for the everyday person, just remember that, prioritize yourself because a company will always prioritize a company over you. You are, no matter how big or small the company is, you are a cog in that machine, whether you're the only cog or whether you're one of 1,000. If something were to happen to you, you'll get your 15 minutes of respect and remembrance, and then guess what? Your spot has to be filled by someone or something. So make sure you prioritize yourself first, and it's a tough act to balance. Needing a job and needing to take care of yourself. There's plenty of other jobs out there. There's only one you.
Talk to him, digits.
I like that.
Talk that talk, man. That was beautiful.
I thought you were gonna. I thought I was ready all show to just tap
To
out.
be
on
honest,
nothing. I thought you were
Max,
gonna take that.
I'm gonna keep it a whole 100 with you. I wanted to say something about it. I couldn't find any words that were as eloquent and as like precise as that right there. Like it was like a lot going on up here, and I didn't know how to get it into a few like coherent sentences. And you did it better than I could have, to be honest. That was like so well
I get one of those a week where I can take a big idea and get it coherent. So
Yeah,
I usually spend it here. So
there you go.
Love that. That was very well said. Well, just to remind you, you can find us wherever you get your podcast platforms. I know I didn't give you
take me home, Captain.
Yeah, I didn't give you the surprise reveal. I know I lost a little bit of shock value this week. But you can find us wherever you find your podcasts, whether that be Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. TTPL Philly, Trust the Process Live. Look us up. Join us if you haven't tonight, because I know you might still be reeling from last night as I was. But that's going to be it for us this week, Philly. We'll catch you next week on Monday. If there's not a Sixers game, even if there is, hell, we might still cover it.
Might still.
It's been a pleasure. As always, we are brought to you by Minded Philly, where something's always new and everything's
always
Philly. Have a good week, Philly.
Digits was really